Welcome back to Gold Seek TV. I'm here today with Mark Brown of Silver North Resources talking about two very exciting high-grade silver projects in Canada. Mark, thank you for joining us.
Hey, great to be here, Peter. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's great to speak with you. I've known you for several years through the difficult times in the silver market, and now things seem to be really coming together with the silver price hitting record nominal price highs. We're starting to get some actual retail silver interest coming back into the sector, and silver stocks are starting to get some interest again, which puts a company like Silver North Resources into an interesting position because you've got two very interesting silver projects, high grade. You've been working on them for some years during the difficult times. And well, we've got two major silver companies that are either interested in your projects or right next door to it. So it's quite an interesting story. I don't know if I would call you a small cap. You're more like a micro cap silver stock with in the US market cap side, you're probably about a sub $15 million market cap value. You're drilling right now. Lots of results coming out. So let's dig into the story. Let's start with maybe your first project, which is located next to Hecla's Keno Hill project mine in a very exciting district. And some discoveries in the last year plus have kind of led you to where you should be looking this year's drill season. So if you could give us a little bit more of an update or an overview of this project, the Haldane project up in the Keno Silver area.
Yeah, happy to do that. We took this company and refocused it 100% on silver because those were our top projects. We shed our other projects, and we've been really focused on these for the last 4 or 5 years. And we're in, like as you said, great jurisdictions. The Keno Hill area is a prolific area. It's produced 200 million ounces of silver at the mine that Hecla is running right now, and we're right next door to them. And we have the same geology and very similar structures where we drill and find high-grade silver. So we've drilled a few times up there, and we've always hit on about 80% of our holes. Various grades, but quite a few of them are over 1,000 grams per ton. So that's pretty exciting. That's very high grade, and that's what that district is known for. We talked to the guys at Hecla next door at the Keno Hill mine, and they look at our core and say, yeah, that's very similar to what we're drilling. Here's what you need to do next. So last year, 2024, we did a drill program in the fall, just like we're doing this year, and we hit some very high grade results. But the big difference was we hit multiple veins in one hole. And that allows you to build out a little bit of a silver resource a lot faster than just drilling one vein in multiple places. So that was kind of a key game changer for us. Some of those results were, for example, about 2 meters of over 1,000 grams per ton, stuff like that. There's lower grades. We also have lead and zinc. And by the way, when I'm talking about these intercepts, I'm talking true width and the raw grades. We don't really do silver equivalent, but they are on our website. So we've hit multiple high-grade intercepts there in what's called the main fault. And so this year, our plan was to follow up on the main fault, and we're drilling hole 8 right now. So actually, sorry, hole 7. We've got 6 holes in the lab, and results will be coming from those hopefully in the next 3-4 weeks. So that's always exciting, and things could be really coming together nicely for us because we're doing a little larger drill program this year. The silver price is obviously taking off. We've got Hecla next door with an operating mine. They're actually doing better and better at that mine. And we've got the silver price market, of course, going, and retail investors are coming back. So on our project, we've actually got 12 kilometers of strike length that we'd like to get to drilling. We've got kind of 4 key areas that we have drilled a little bit in, and we've always hit sniffs of high-grade silver in there, and we've got a lot more work to do. So it's very exciting. I was up there last weekend and saw the drill turning, saw some of the drill core, and the guys are doing a great job up there. It was cold. It was about -10. So we had the parkas on and everything. But it was fun. It was fun. We'll have to get you up there one day, Peter.
I love it. I've been up to Seabridge's project, not all the way up that in this area yet, but it is an area that's just not known for the Keno Hill District, for the Keno Hill mine. Sorry, there's also for those familiar with the huge gold deposit next door, which your property also borders. That's 7+ million ounces of gold now. Tell us more about Banyan Gold. That's a different system, but this is an area with a lot of different silver and gold.
Yeah, I mean, Snowline's not even too far away. Banyan is right next door to us. We border on there. We actually, I stayed in their camp, which was very great that they let us use their camp facilities because they're obviously a much larger operation.
Mm.
So we stayed in their camp. We saw a little bit of their drill core. They're drilling quite a bit right now. And yeah, it's the sign on the way into the camp says 7 million plus ounces on there. So Terra Christie's doing a fantastic job with that. We border them on one side and Hecla right above them.
Mm.
So we're right in there, and Victoria Gold is further north. They're shut down right now, but they're looking for a new purchaser for that mine. And then you've got a whole bunch of other regional geology going on. So the Yukon's been very, very busy, and it's a pretty good place to work. And there's only in the whole Yukon, there's only 43,000 people, so it's fairly remote. But because we're in a mining camp, we've got a power station right near us. We've got roads right to the project. And of course, you've got a lot of people working out there doing exploration and operating mines. So it's a great area to be in.
That's a great point. So you've got a great location there, good infrastructure. Uh, we mentioned their Banyan a little bit about Hecla. So is Hecla supportive of your efforts, and how are they looking at what you're doing there?
They're keeping a close eye on us. So Seymour's their chief geologist up at the mine. He's been drilling a ton to expand their deposits, and they have multiple deposits. You know, if you look at their grades, they're absolutely astounding. I believe their resource grade is over 800 grams per ton silver. So that puts them in the top in the world. I don't know what the claim to fame is for the level, but it's very exciting what they're drilling. He looks at our stuff. There was one hole we hit in a brand new area called Bighorn Creek, and we drilled one hole. There's no we have some historic mining on the project in other areas, but not in that area. And we hit some something like 2 meters, about 120 grams per ton silver. And we were a little disappointed. We thought, well, that looks kind of low, but we did hit a nice structure and a nice fault. And Seymour looked at this and said, no, that is exactly what you want to hit. You just need to step out on either sides along that fault. And what happens is these things pinch and swell, and you'll hit higher grade somewhere along that fault as you go. So he was more excited about what we hit there than we were. And that's an area we haven't even got to following up on yet. So anyway, Hecla's keeping a close eye on what we're doing. We're in touch with them, and every once in a while, I probably shouldn't say this, but we break a piece of equipment and we need to borrow something, and they've been very generous in helping us out. So
Oh, that's
we have a
great to
really
hear.
good relationship with those guys.
A nice supportive sector there. It's nice to see that they're paying attention. Are they? Yeah, it sounds like also giving some nice feedback, uh, giving some guidance maybe then too, where they
I,
think things.
it's really funny, Peter. I've often thought that Seymour is the best promoter we have in our company, even though he works for Hecla, because we'll see him at the shows and he'll come and look at our core and he'll start explaining it to people because he knows it so well. So, I mean, our geologists are also top notch too. We've got Jason Weber, our CEO, who's a fantastic guy, well-rounded on knowing the markets as well as being excellent geologist, and Rob Duncan, who's our VP exploration, who's really focused on this whole area, knows that he's worked in the Yukon for many years, knows the area extremely well, and brings it down to from the regional geology down to the micro where we are. And the drill program they did this year to me was fantastic because we have this fault structure going along. We had hit it in about 4 or 5 holes last year, and this year we're just stepping out on either side of where we hit it.
Mm.
Hit it again and again and see the grades, and it's getting to the point now where a couple more drill programs you could actually put together a resource there. And each, like Hecla on their project, they have multiple deposits. They're mining on multiple deposits. Some of them are absolutely astounding grades, but they have, I believe, 7 deposits in their resource. So these things are not very big. They're fairly small, but they're super high grade. So it's kind of good for mining because you don't have to mine a huge amount of material to recover a lot of silver.
So it might, in their situation, it may be looking at if this does develop, there could be a situation where you could haul the ore to another mill in the area, like potentially Hecla's, that would be economical.
Yeah, we've already looked at building the road to go over there. I mean, and that would be the natural thing to happen for a junior with a mine
Mm.
next door, with very similar geology. We hit a lot of lead and zinc as well, as do they.
Mm.
We hit a tiny bit of gold from time to time too, but most of it is silver, lead, zinc, and the exact same kind of ore that they hit. So it's a natural for to process our ore one way or the other at their operations. And we drove through their operations last weekend, and it's interesting to see how much activity there is going on there. It's obviously a very active site. So it's great to have them next door, but we do own 100% of our project right now. And like I say, they're keeping an eye. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay, and so a little bit on, I guess, next steps. So you've got this year's drill campaign going, depending how that goes, and maybe setting up some targets for the next season. I guess at what point then you look at making initial maiden resource, and what kind of targets could one be looking at down the road if this develops along kind of the thought process and the targets that you're looking at?
Well, so the targets are along these faults that have allowed fluids to come up and fill the mineralization in these targets, and they're generally kind of 2 to 10 meters wide in different areas. Sometimes we hit one intercept that was 28 meters wide. But what you want to do is you need to do a bunch of drilling. And as a junior, it's been difficult in the last few years to raise money. So we've done these small programs, and it's a real credit to our guys that even with like last year we drilled 3 holes and we hit on 2 out of 3, and we hit significant stuff on those two. And so it's a credit to our guys, but like I said, we've got 12 kilometers of strike length kind of mapped out that we could be drilling along. So there's a huge amount of more drilling to be done. And a very exciting time because now we can do a little bit larger drill programs with the silver price better and money coming into the retail sector. And like I said to you before the call, the last company that I was really involved in that was very successful was Rare Element Resources. And I got to ring the bell in New York Stock Exchange. It became a $500 million company. And my office here, we started that in 1999, and nobody even knew what rare earth elements were in those days. But by 2012, the stars had aligned. The rare earth prices were taken off. Our deposit, the drill results were fantastic. We had a great share structure, and I see all that happening again for Silver North. Like we've been
Mhm.
drilling for quite a few years on this now, and things are looking really good. Silver price is cooperating. We had rolled back the share structure a few years ago, so we're in good shape there. And we've been able to finance and get money in the bank. I mean, our share price has kind of tripled this year already, but I only view that as getting back to where we should have been anyway. I think we've got a long ways to go with the market coming in and the kind of results that we hit. This high grade silver is what you want to hit, and grade is still king even in the high prices. So.
Absolutely, and it is investing in exploration in juniors is a very difficult. It's a question of timing a lot. Things that are out of your control, like the price of silver, the market conditions to raise capital. But like you just said, things seem to be quickly changing. We've started to see indications of the retail silver investor revival, actually getting some shortages of silver from retail finally after kind of waiting for a long time. But just curious, what do you see on your side? Are you starting to see some, phone calls coming in, even not even from retail, but from other investors? Are they starting to finally, pick up that there's a silver bull market underway? Or...
Oh, definitely. It's much easier to make calls now. People are listening. There's the thing about the silver universe and the silver companies is there isn't that many silver companies. I mean, you know this very well. And there isn't that many kind of pure silver companies. And if you narrow it down to Canadian companies in a major zone, there's even less. So there's lots of guys exploring. There's a few producers, but there's not that many people who are actually been hitting high grade silver, other than the bigger guys. So it's a small universe of companies, and when the big money comes into this area, just like in the rare earths, it will move. I mean, the rare element share price was $15 for over a year. We started that company at 10 cents a share. And it's because, there was only like 5 companies to invest in. And there's a few more in the silver space, but there's just not that many. Our project, our ownership, everything. So, I mean, I'm a big shareholder of the company and very happy to be in this position. So there is retail coming back. And the other thing that's going to happen is the market caps get bigger and the retail pushes the share prices up. The bigger funds will start to come down and dip down into the smaller companies. And that always drives the share prices way up even more, which is why Rare Element was at $15 a share for so long. It was the big guys coming in to buy something that they finally saw value in.
It's really amazing to see. Well, having lived through this depressed silver market for so long, you've seen this lack of underinvestment, the lack of exploration and development and new silver deposits coming online. So it's really, like you said, the alignment, the timing is quite interesting, and to be exploring and hitting these kind of grades and starting to already be, you've been working through the difficult times, so you're already ahead more than other companies who are just starting to scramble and say, oh, look, we got let's start to explore, let's try to find something. And there really isn't that many out there, and your location to major silver companies, it's quite interesting. So that's I don't know if you want to have any other comments on that, but we should also talk about your other silver project.
Yeah, that's a great segue to that. I mean, that's a silver project we've owned for quite a few years called Tim. It's also in the Yukon territory of Canada. and it is in southern Yukon, and it's right near Coeur's Silvertip mine. And Coeur bought this mine. You know, Coeur's one of the, like Hecla, those are the two biggest U.S. silver producers. And Coeur bought this mine quite a few years ago and started to rebuild the mill, and then realized they really didn't know what they wanted to build in the mill. And they actually stopped building their mill again. And they just have been doing exploration, and they've tripled their resource there in that whole area. It's a different kind of deposit from our Haldane project. It's a CRD system where there's these mantos, these chimneys, and these mantos where you hit into them and you hit lots of high grade silver and some lead and zinc as well. And our project, Tim, was confirmed to be the similar structure as what they have. And what's even better, it was actually Coeur that did that work because they've optioned that project from us.
Hmm.
So they can, over time, they can earn into 85% of that project by spending quite a bit of money. I mean, they have to do a full feasibility study to get to that level. But they've been doing work last few years, a little bit slower than we would like to go, but high quality work. And so we've got some high grade surface samples there and some trenches. They did a little bit of drilling that geologically was very good a year before last, but they didn't hit the high grade. So the next program will probably be next year, and that's when they're going to focus on hitting higher grade there and see if there's really something there. So that's an early stage project, but obviously it's advanced enough to attract a major like Coeur. So we're very happy with our relationship with them. I've been up to the mine site there and the project, and they have a very well run operation there, and it's incredible the amount of exploration they're doing.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean it's amazing how much they've got going on up there. So they had just reams, like huge amounts of drill core there. So it's active operation. We're next door, and we also have one other little project next door to our Tim project called Veronica. And Peter, we don't talk much about Veronica. I'm not even sure it's been listed on our website other than a couple of news releases. But we just did some surface sampling up there and a little bit of mapping, so early stage stuff. But we're going to have some results coming out on that. We put out one news release already saying that we actually really liked what we saw up there. So it was something we were able to acquire for a good price and do a little bit early stage work. And that's what Jason and Rob are really good at doing, is finding these projects that have huge potential. So we're going to put out a news release on that with some of the results from the assays next week. And then we'll see what the next stage of that is for next summer. But it's interesting. So we're a little excited about that. I think we upgraded it from the work we did. So
Oh, nice, nice little extra bonus there, and it's a nice setup. Sounds like with core. Oh, I still call it Coeur Mining. It's Coeur Mining from back in the day. That's a huge
uh,
silver company, and they're going to carry you to feasibility study fully. So you are no financial commitments, cash needed to advance at this point. You just sit back and let
no,
core do the work.
that's right. We've been working with them closely on stuff. It's a little interesting with permitting because our project's on the Yukon side of the border and their mine is just down a little bit lower on the BC side of the border.
Oh,
So we've been helping them dealing with the Yukon guys because Jason's pretty good at that. So
oh, nice.
um, yeah, so we work closely with them on all this stuff. But yeah, they have to fund all this stuff, and they have annual payments and cash they actually make to us as well. So that's helpful.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's a another one kind of sitting in the background. Not much focus on it, but especially with these silver prices, I'm sure the motivation increases. But you're saying already there's a lot of activity, and they're quite busy in the area already. So,
Yeah, and you get, these deposits, that deposit is the kind that Peter McGaw really likes to promote. And
mhm,
he's been to the mine site there, and he's a big supporter of Coeur and what they're doing, and he's kind of the expert on those kind of deposits and stuff. And so ours isn't a deposit by any means yet, but it's got all the similarities of that kind of system. So those systems are known to be fairly large, and the fact that again we're right next to an operating mine. Well, it's a little ways away. It's like 20K away, but
mm,
we wouldn't be building a mine there either. We'd definitely be working with Coeur to do something as our partner there.
very nice. Well, that's it. It's a good time to be taking a look at silver exploration companies. Not very many out there to choose from, and very few in the micro cap side that have kind of the setup that I see with Silver North Resources. So it's as you say, it's an interesting timing. It's sometimes you just have to wait for the market conditions and things to line up. But as you said, I think it's a similar view I have. Is this is an excellent time to be in the silver sector. even though the silver price has really taken off, it seems to have not been noticed. So the silver stocks are still lagging, and to me, it's just amazing gift that you could be buying some of these companies right now, from the miners to even the miners are cheap. So imagine, you look at the exploration stocks, they're even cheaper than they should be at these price levels.
Well,
So
exactly. And these little stocks were so depressed for so long, and there's been so many shareholders that have been waiting for a liquidity opportunity. As soon as they start to jump up, you get a bunch of selling coming in, and that clears out, and then you've got clear sailing to go. So I've seen this before. I've been in this market for a long time, probably too long, but I've seen it before. And when things get to go, you went from the fear thing to the greed thing, and then you get into the irrational exuberance, right? And
yeah,
and things take off. And I remember with Rare Element sitting in my office going, "Why is the stock going so high?" And that's kind of what happens in the good market, right? And it's
yeah.
exciting and it's fun and people make a lot of money. So
Hmm.
that we're focused on working for our shareholders to be one of those best companies to do that.
Well, as a long-term silver investor, I can say I'm very tired of the oversold, depressed, undervalued conditions, and I look forward to a period where valuations are at least met in the market, or they recognize the proper valuations, and probably will get a bubble. I mean, potential for overvaluations too. But I think it's always
Yeah,
important to always be thinking about what the values of these companies are, and not to get caught up in the mania, because it can happen on both sides.
yeah,
Depression
exactly.
to them, yeah. So. It'll be interesting to see how this develops. We'll have to follow up with the drill results coming up out in the coming several weeks on up north, and see how those look like, because that could really set the stage for some more exciting things in the coming year, and we'll definitely be following and seeing how those develop.
Yeah, I am dying to get those results. We haven't got them yet, but we did put out in a news release that we've at least hit the full structure. So that doesn't tell you much, but I'm dying to get those results, and hopefully we'll get them out pretty soon.
And the results, I imagine, like I think you mentioned, the labs are quite backed up right now. It's got a lot of
Yeah,
activity.
obviously that's one of the symptoms of the market improving. Last year we got our results actually pretty quick, like within a month. And right now we've got 5 of the 8 holes we're going to drill this year at the lab, and they're working on it. The guys are doing their best, but they have to, it's very particular how they do it, and has to be quality control, and very orderly. So they're not rushing ever, because they have to do these things right. So we do hope to get results in probably mid-November now. So we'll see.
Okay, I'll be looking forward to mid-November then, and we'll follow up and speak with you then again soon.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks very much, Peter.
All right, thanks for coming on your Mark. It's great to see you and talk with you again, and we'll talk with you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks very much.
Thank you.